Hello again. I thought I'd talk a little about global warming, although of course it isn't actually called that anymore. That's because when it first became an exciting scare story, suitable to replace acid rain and the hole in the ozone layer, it was sold as specifically warming, meaning that Europe would become hotter and drier. So people began expecting warm and sunny summers. That hasn't really happened, so the name was changed to climate change. When did you last hear it called global warming? This neat change of name means that high winds in the autumn, snow in the winter, mild springs, heavy rain at any time of year, and any other kind of weather can all be roped in as evidence. Climate change is so vague an expression that it can include anything you like, whereas global warming only means high temperatures to the average person. There are a couple of interesting points about this business, the most obvious being that people in Britain haven't seen any change at all in their weather. 20 years ago we were told that it would be necessary to stop having lawns because summers would be so hot and dry, and we were advised to start planting cactus and succulents and have rock gardens to prepare for the fact that there wouldn't be any rain in the future. But that didn't really happen, did it? Then, too, claims were made about carbon dioxide, which was a deadly menace to humanity, and the focus now is on removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in case it causes the Earth to heat up or freeze or whatever it is that it will do. This is all very odd because children at school, for example, are being taught about the horrors of climate change, and the forests will all die, depriving us of oxygen and all sorts of other horrible things. None of this makes any sort of sense, really. I used to live at a research station called Nativa Sarah, which was studying hydroponics. In the huge greenhouses there, they had paraffin stoves, not so much to provide heat because this was in the desert, but because burning fossil fuels like that chucks out loads of carbon dioxide. This is really great for plants. It's airborne fertilizer because I'm sure that most viewers know about photosynthesis. If you give plants plenty of carbon dioxide and water, it makes them grow nice and healthy. They'll produce carbohydrates. Carbon dioxide feeds plants and trees and makes them grow more healthy and bigger. The more carbon dioxide there is in the Earth's atmosphere, the better the Earth's plants will like it, and the more they'll grow. Guess what will happen if trees grow bigger and there are more of them? That's right, they'll take more of that carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere in a feedback mechanism. This all sounds wrong though, because we are constantly being bombarded with images of rainforests being chopped down. I'm sure we all know that deforestation is a serious problem, with more trees being chopped down than are planted. This too is a weird piece of disinformation which we're being fed. There are more trees and forests than ever in the world, despite whatever nonsense kids are taught at school or we see in our newspapers. Have a look at the link which I give in the description to this video. Over the last 40 years or so, from 1982 up till now, the amount of forests in the world have actually increased by 7%. All the news stories which you've seen about shrinking forests and loss of trees, they're all complete nonsense. Forests are growing bigger and there are more trees than ever. Wherever you look, this seems to be the picture. There are more trees in the United States today than there were 100 years ago. I give a link about that as well. There must be a reason why such an effort has been made to convince us, against all the evidence, that we are running out of forests, And I think that it ties in with the same kind of claims about the weather, which are leading the British government to start talking about making gas boilers illegal. Unless we were constantly being told about it, nobody in Britain would actually have noticed any change in the weather, let alone the dramatic global warming that we were promised. Nobody will really discuss positive aspects of increased carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, things like increased crop yields and more and bigger trees, which will help mop up carbon dioxide. Why we should be menaced all the time in this way, I really don't know. But I think many people are growing a little suspicious of the claims being made. In Britain, the summer just gone was a grey and damp one for most of us, but the Met Office is still claiming it was one of the hottest summers of all time in the United Kingdom, which frankly sounds a bit odd to me. Claims of this kind increasingly seem to bear little relation to the real world in which most of us live.